Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Snake People at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. It's the podcast where we talk about growing up and living queer, nerdy, and depressed, online and at the cinema. From the kids who yell, "It's the bracers!" every time Aragorn puts on the bracers, it's Sneople at the Movies. I'm Ezra.
I'm Helena.
And I'm Maddie. Welcome to part 3 of our multi-part special. It's Lord of the Rings Summer, Summer of the Rings, whatever you want to call it. As long as it's one of those two names, because that's part of the branding we have for this.
I know what you did last Lord of the Rings.
I know we don't.
No?
I know what you did last Age of Middle-earth.
Yeah, that's better. There we go.
Let's see. Trying to think of other good ones. 500 days of filming.
500 days of fellowship.
Aww!
Aww.
I love how there's a nuclear half-life for us hanging out, but it's how many jokes it takes before we get gay on Maine.
Yeah, alright, fair enough. You're not wrong. I was thinking about other jokes, and then I realized that this joke has to be over now, so we can do the podcast. Anyway, this is part 3. This is our design episode, so we're going to be talking about a lot of costuming, a lot of music, a lot of sets, probably.
Yeah.
We'll probably get a little bit more into kind of like the digital stuff, that we've talked about that on other episodes, so I figure that's probably going to be less of a focus this time. But before we get into all of that mess, and by mess I mean that positively, what are we seeing, gang?
What have we seen? Who wants to go first?
I'll start. Okay, so I've actually watched movies this time. What a fucking concept. Hey, what a concept. I finally sat down and watched The Old Guard, the Netflix original that's based on a graphic novel that I haven't read, which we decided to follow up immediately with Atomic Blonde. The Old Guard, I was tweeting about it. My take was basically like, was that movie good? No. Did it rule? Definitely. The script is pretty mediocre. The politics are pretty incoherent, but the fight scenes are choreographed very well, shot very well, and it's like wall-to-wall battle couple content, but they're gay, so like, I'm a simple human being with simple desires. And I felt very catered to, so that was cool. I don't know. I think it's worth watching if you keep your expectations manageable.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to watch it at some point.
I think you'll enjoy it.
I think so too. It was all over my Tumblr dash immediately, so I got hype fatigue instantly.
I watched that movie, and like within about 10 minutes, one of my main thoughts was, I'm so glad I'm not on Tumblr anymore, so I can actually enjoy this film without having become oversaturated by it in 3.5 minutes. Also, I'm sure everybody immediately started drawing the main two dudes couple with that really specific thing where people are like, I have to differentiate this couple by body proportions. One of them has to be big, and one of them has to be small. And it's weird.
I was gonna say, I haven't seen any fan art, but I didn't see very much of it before I blocked the tag, so I wouldn't know, actually.
Good plan. I'm casting aspersions, but it seems like the kind of thing where immediately a lot of people would sort of do that thing where they have to fit depictions of couples into sort of a specific body type difference template. Which I'm not gonna get into my speculations as to why that is or where that came from.
No, that'll be my very special episode of Sneople that we have planned for eventually, where I get into that shit, because I have theories that I've been crafting. Anyway.
And so so we watched that, and then I was like, wow, I really, really, really like watching, Charlize Theron kick people's asses, so what if we watched more of that? And so we watched Atomic Blonde, which is good and rules.
Mm-hmm.
Like, very definitely. It's... Man, everything in that movie is just... It's so well put together, like, every single choice is clearly really well thought out, and, like, every little piece of it fits together and moves like a well-oiled machine, and also the soundtrack fucking bangs, and it looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody go watch Atomic Blonde. There's lesbians in it, and it's very sexy.
Mm-hmm.
And James McAvoy.
And James McAvoy is in it. And he's, I used to love all of his, like, traumatized, like the world just keeps hurting me and it sucks roles, and I still love those roles, but I also really like the ones where he has a buzz cut and is a jackass.
Mm-hmm. I still have not seen Atomic Blonde, actually, but I'll get there.
Yeah, please. I would happily watch it with you again. I loved that movie. I think you're really gonna enjoy it. It's definitely a movie that, like, rewards paying attention to it, to the details in it, so it's definitely a movie to, like, it's worth it to, like, wait for the right time to watch it, I think. And I fucking saw Ponyo for the first time. Ponyo, which was, like, just extremely sweet and a balm to my weary soul. Yeah. That was very important. We watched the dub. And I was like, man, sucks that Liam Neeson's, like, turned out to be kind of racist. Mm-hmm. Cause just, like, also, this made me laugh really hard because, like, the Ponyo dub is, like, fairly old. Like, it's been out for quite a while. Like, I think it predates the reinvention of Liam Neeson as an action star. But I started watching it. About that. Maybe it doesn't, because I started watching it and I was like, why is that every time you give Liam Neeson a daughter in a movie, he, like, immediately loses her? Yeah,
Ponyo came out in 2008.
Oh, okay. So it was, like...
I remember when it came out.
I don't know when the Liam Neeson is always trying to kill people who stole his offspring.
I am going to take a wild stab, and I'm going to say Taken came out, the first Taken movie, anywhere between 2007 and 2009.
Let's check.
You should check that. Oh, and I'm also right now.
Taken also came out in 2008, actually. So that was a bad year.
That's so
bad year
funny.
For Liam Neeson's daughters.
Yeah, bad year to have Liam Neeson be your dad. Also,
3 come out.
God damn it! My latest weird quarantine pass the time purchase was Lego The Hobbit for PS4 because I wanted to play it again. And it may have resulted in me agreeing to rewatch the Hobbit movies with I have a new roommate, and so the three of us may have agreed to watch the Hobbit movies, but I was like, okay, but only if I'm super drunk. And they were like, yeah, that sounds like a good time. So, stay tuned for that and also pray for me.
Yeah, rip. Yeah, we will miss you.
Yeah, it's been fun, everybody, but just in case me being simultaneously, overwhelmingly, like, crushingly sad and incandescently angry about the entire last third of the last Hobbit movie, like, just takes me out. It's been real. Yeah, nope, that's it. I work a lot. Mm-hmm. And, I don't have my new laptop doesn't have a DVD drive, so and sometimes I feel like I'm inconveniencing people if I watch a movie on the TV.
No.
So that's just, like, my own stupid complex. So, just the ever-evolving dance of consuming media while nobody can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very fair. Helena, do you want to go next? You want me to go next?
I'll go next.
All right.
I have rewatched Ratatouille. I have rewatched A Fish Called Wanda, and our Wi-Fi was out on Tuesday, so we rewatched Galaxy Quest instead of watching. I want to watch it again so bad. It's so fucking good. I love that movie so much. Alan Rickman is so perfect in it.
So good.
And then for the first time, I watched The Player on the Criterion Channel, which is a Robert Altman movie from 1990. What year? 1983? Who knows? Oh no, it was 1992. I know that because I made a list of all the movies that came out in 1992 because that was the year I was born that I wanted to see and haven't seen yet. And The Player was on that, so I was like, I'm gonna watch The Player. It's a satire about Hollywood, and it's about a producer who is played by Tim Robbins, who keeps getting threatening notes that seem like somebody is out to kill him. That it could be like any number of the writers whose scripts he's rejected over the time that he's been a producer. So that's kind of what it starts at. It was like literally like everybody in the world is in it because it's just like shot in Hollywood with all of these real Hollywood people playing themselves.
Very good.
Robert Altman's one of those directors where it was like, hey, I'm making a movie, and he could just call up absolutely anyone.
Yeah.
And it was like, of course, it's like, oh, how, it's gonna be like, what, how many lines is it? Oh, like 3? Yeah, I still want to be in a Robert Altman movie.
Exactly. There's like one scene where they're watching a scene within a movie, and it's just, it's Lily Tomlin and somebody else. I can't remember the man right now, but it was like, yeah, Lily Tomlin is just there.
Who
for
cares?
Like
It's Lily
one
Tomlin.
Scene. Yeah.
I don't care who the man in question is.
And I saw 2 movies that I really, really loved. I saw Next Stop Greenwich Village, which is a Paul Mazursky film. I think I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. He wrote it and he directed it. It was came out in like the early 70s. It's just about an aspiring Jewish actor who leaves his home in Brooklyn to go to Greenwich Village, and it's in the 50s. It's set in the 50s, made in the 70s, and all of the antics that occur along the way. And I kind of loved it. It's very much like just a kind of coming of age in New York movie with the added benefit of like it's about actors. So of course I had an extra like about it.
That sounds delightful.
Very young Ellen Green is in it from Little Shop of Horrors and other things. And a very young Christopher Walken is in it as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wild.
It's delightful. And then I also saw Dog Day Afternoon.
Yes, I want to see it.
It is so good.
Let's watch Dog Day Afternoon.
It is incredible. Yeah, I don't know what else to say that like people haven't already said about Dog Day Afternoon. It's a classic. Al Pacino is amazing and so tender and vulnerable in it, and it felt like a very timely movie, and it was just great. I don't want to say anything more about it. It's Dog Day Afternoon. And to end this, unfortunately, I have The Emperor's Club. So I can't remember how this happened, but an older neighbor of ours, loaned me this DVD that they have, which we still need to get back to them, of this movie, The Emperor's Club, which I haven't watched in, it's been a while since they gave me the DVD, and I felt really bad. And I think I was thinking about it because I watched A Fish Called Wanda, and Kevin Kline is in that movie, and this is like a movie with Kevin Kline in it. He's on the DVD cover, and I have been kind of avoiding it because I was worried it was going to be like not very good, and I didn't want to return the DVD to them being like, thanks. But I felt guilty about it. Yeah. But I described it to my parents, and they're just like, yeah, that seems like it's a boarding school movie with Kevin Kline and some other people. Like, this should be fine. And it just wasn't that good. Like, it wasn't even really like terror bad. It was just not
that good.
Not that good. Dad described it as it's like, I mean, like the Dead Poet Society similarities were like blatant, because there's like one scene early on in the movie. Kevin Kline is a classics professor, and so he's like does his whole speech to his students in the first day of class, and then finishes it with like, what will your contribution to history be, or something like that, or how will history remember you? And I'm like, that's just what will your verse be? That's just what will your verse be. That's all it is.
Hey, we should
Poets
do
Society
an episode where we watch the Dead... Like, we should just watch Dead Poets Society for an episode.
We should, because I haven't seen it
I haven't seen it since middle school.
I haven't seen it in a very long time
either.
Yeah.
I was going to rewatch it after Robin Williams passed, and then I was like, Robin Williams. And
I couldn't.
Yeah, like, I literally can't do that right now, so I'm going to watch Hook instead.
Yep.
So yeah, we should do that eventually. I love Dead Poets Society. This was not Dead Poets Society. It was it was less gay, for one thing. And it wasn't very good, and it had no stakes. And like some of the students were kind of fun. It was a young Emil Hirsch and a young Jesse Eisenberg and a young Paul Dano. And what was really galaxy brained about it, I thought, was that there's a second part of the movie where they're all adults again, and they put Kevin Kline in old person makeup, and and older Jesse Eisenberg, adult Jesse Eisenberg, was played by Patrick Dempsey.
Which you told me this and I fucking lost it.
Alright then!
I thought surely not, but they were having him around the table. We saw that Patrick Dempsey was in it, and then like they were showing him, and I was like, surely that cannot be. And then it was. Because there's another actor I thought, like, oh, maybe that's him. That makes more sense. But it was actually adult Paul Dano, and I was like, oh, well, that actually, yeah. No, Patrick Dempsey. It's like that episode of TNG, and I can't remember which episode it is, but they, like, some alien, shows Wesley a holograph of, like, what he will look like when he's an adult, and it's, like, this super, like, hunky, like, surfer dude. And even Will Wheaton, like, tweeted that out at one point, being like, yeah, that's not... What an interesting...
What happened? That was never gonna be it.
It was kind of like that. It's just because Patrick Dempsey looks like Patrick Dempsey, and Jesse Eisenberg just looks like Jesse Eisenberg.
This looks Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg as a child just looks like how he looks now. They look the same. I'll post a picture of Jesse Eisenberg as he looks in The Emperor's Club, and you will not notice the difference between this Jesse Eisenberg and Social Network Jesse Eisenberg. I'm telling you.
I think the greatest tragedy of this movie is that Kevin Kline as a classics professor, like, isn't even that hot.
No.
Fucked up.
I'm putting it in the chat.
Fucked up that they did that.
Discord chat.
Wasted.
Please do.
So this is
I need to see this.
It's just him.
That's just what he looks like.
That's just what he looks like. And this is who he's supposed to grow up to be.
Are they all wearing fucking togas over their goddamn... I hate this.
Yeah, because there's a contest in the movie about who's going to be...
Okay.
He grows up to be Dr.
Yeah,
Jamie,
alright.
Yeah, no.
They have completely different noses.
They have completely different entire bodies and faces. And hair and eyes and noses and ears and mouths and chin. Just can't...
none of it's working.
They're both attractive in their own way, if that's what you're into. I'm not particularly attracted to either of them, so I have no stakes in this game, but I just think it's hysterically funny that they would suggest it.
Just for a second fucking completely forgot what Patrick Dempsey's actually, like, famous for. It's Grey's Anatomy, right?
A lot of...
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. He was also in a bunch of rom-coms. I'm sorry, I keep flipping between the two of these photos, just, like, trying to do the math.
Nah, dude, it's a mindfuck. Don't do it.
I can't. I'm gonna scroll up to look back at this photo you posted of Robert Pattinson matching the tablecloth and just let that...
Oh, yeah.
Let that sing me home.
Little baby Paul Dano.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Oh, that's a baby.
Real quick, yeah, he was great in it. Emil Hirsch was astoundingly bad in that. Sorry to that man. But... the contest, there's like a contest at the school about who's going to be Mr. Julius Caesar based on like who yep.
I just once again for the record,
who's gonna get stabbed
didn't work out real well for Julius Caesar.
Mr. Julius himself.
It's about who wins the pop quiz about classics history, ancient Roman and ancient Greek history.
Sure.
Yeah. If you win the quiz that Kevin Kline moderates, then you become Mr. Julius Caesar, and it's like
what is he holding?
What? And then you get stabbed?
Is he holding the?
No, you just get like you become. Mr. Julius Caesar, and you can.
I'm struggling to see why this is an achievement which someone would want.
This is what we're talking about when we say low ass stakes.
Okay. Can I get a clarification? This photo you posted of older Kevin Kline, is he holding the 10 Commandments?
Maybe.
You know, I don't actually know.
For the listener at home, he's holding this weird stone tablet, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what the fuck else it's supposed to be. Also, there's a man behind him in an orange polo and a bed sheet, and it's so funny. These two dudes standing next to older Kevin Kline are my favorite characters in this movie, because one of them's wearing like a mint button-down and a bed sheet, the other one's wearing an orange polo.
That's Patrick Dempsey again. Look, there's
Damn it, I accidentally picked Patrick Dempsey.
There's one character you can see in this photo here, who's Deepak, and he is the only character. Him and Paul Dano are the only characters with rights in this film. Deepak is the one who actually, like, wins the contest because he fucking just knows it. Emil Hirsch cheats. And Patrick Dempsey / Jesse Eisenberg just, like, he's like, I don't know. I kind of know it. Deepak has never done anything wrong in his life ever. And that's that on that. That's
you know what I just realized? I don't know why Emil Hirsch is famous. Like, I don't remember.
Neither do I.
I don't really know who you're talking about.
He is... Do you know what he looks like?
I'm gonna look him up on IMDb.
No, I'm gonna look him up. Yeah, no.
He was in Into the Wild. He was in...
I haven't seen.
He was in that Lords of Dogtown movie that they filmed here years ago. I haven't seen either of those movies
I haven't
either.
seen that either.
I'm just trying to think of what he would be famous for. He's in Milk.
Wow, yeah, talk about people who I just, like, couldn't pick out of, like, a crowd. He looks like that dude who was in that crime show with Gillian Anderson.
What?
He looks like... Hang on, this is gonna
no,
fuck me now.
He's not, but I see what you mean.
He's not the dude who turned out to be... Who was the serial killer in... He looks like Jamie Dornan.
A little bit, in that picture especially.
Like a lot! Okay, they look exactly the same to me. I think this is... On today's episode of my weird thing where sometimes, like, my brain just sorts white dudes into, like, 3 basic categories and then has trouble telling them apart within those categories.
The only reason I know about The Fall, the show that you were talking about, is because Colin Morgan was on it.
That's the only reason I know about it.
Yeah, I watched the first couple of episodes and I realized that post-Hannibal traditional serial killer media no longer does it for me. I only want baroque bullshit serial killer
fair
media.
So we talked about this for 20 minutes. Maddie, what have you seen?
Yeah, so for me, real quick, I watched a movie I can't talk about yet. I watched Toy Story for the first time in many, many years, which was so good, but why did the dog look like that? Fucked up. Hated that part. And the people, Ben at one point... that sure is Roger Allam, huh? Yeah. At one point, Ben was like, I don't like the newer Toy Stories because the people look fine, like they don't look fucked up, and therefore it's not like a real Toy Story. And I was like, that is the funniest thing I've heard you say in a long time.
I don't
and you're
agree,
right.
But
also, like, why did they look so weird? And then I watched, when I finished watching that thing I can't talk about, I realized that there were people in the call, like in a different call, watching, like, Airplane. And I was like, hey, what are y'all doing? And they're like, you want to watch the last 10 to 15 minutes of Airplane? And I was like, you bet your buns I do. So I watched that. I fucking love Airplane. Not everything about that movie has aged very well, I will admit. But I was constantly laughing, which is not a thing you can say for many other things on this life. On this life. Very true. On this planet. In this life, on this planet, yeah. That's what I saw. Not a lot. I started watching Lupin 3 again. Sorry, everyone. I'm almost done with Red Jacket. It's so fucking close, I can taste it.
One of the best things about Maddie, like, fucking pumping Lupin 3 directly into their cerebral cortex is that they tell me only the good parts, and so I basically get to be a Lupin fan from afar. It's great.
Yeah. This last episode I watched, Fujiko pretended a whole ass die to get, a secret from, like, Lupin's secret treasure, And so all three of the dudes were like, I can't believe Fujiko's dead. And then Zenigata showed up and was like, she's not dead, she's at the fucking airport with a fucking, like, ex-Nazi scientist, and they're going to go steal your treasure. And they were like, God fucking damn it.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, Ezra, you and I, watching Maddie watch Lupin and enjoying that from afar is like that part in Return of the King where Mount Doom just kind of like, or that, you know, the gate opens and like the green light shoots up and Gandalf and Pippin are just watching it from Minas Tirith and they're like, oh shit. It's like that.
Yeah, when fucking Sam and Frodo set off the Nazgul perimeter alarm.
Yeah, you're Gandalf and you're giving me a hug to comfort me as we watch Maddie just like lose their goddamn mind over Lupin, but we're like proud instead of sad.
That light is me having to watch all the shitty weird episodes with like the fucking accidental racism and the Nazis. Like that's me. To get to the good ones, where Fujiko pretends to fucking die for money. God, I love her so much.
Hey,
anyway, Lord of the Rings.
You know what doesn't have any Nazis in it? Lord of the Rings.
Well, I mean,
not in name anyway. Oh boy. Okay, let's go through a quick list of, like...
Hey, you know what's
what
really
do we want to talk
sad?
about? Yeah.
I just thought about how, like, one of the big metaphors for fucking, like, dying but it's okay in Lord of the Rings is getting on a ship and sailing away, and what do they do with Boromir? They stick him in a boat and he sails away!
Oh no.
Oh no! Yeah, they send him down in a fucking elf boat.
Yeah, they do.
I have definitely read a fic once where Boromir doesn't die, and they're like, what the fuck happened? And he was like, I don't know, you sent me down the river in an elf boat. Shit happened. Crazy. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Speaking of, this is not actually super related to design, I guess, but we're just trying to get back to Lord of the Rings here. Doing multiple episodes of Lord of the Rings, even though we love Lord of the Rings, turning out harder than we thought, I think, is a little harder to keep on track than we'd originally anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that, like, this time, or, like, last time, I wrote all of my fucking thoughts in the Google Doc, and this time I have, like, a million thoughts, I just didn't feel like typing them all into the Google Doc.
Yeah.
So, if at any point people are like, just, like, slam the Ezra button, and I'll start yelling.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about, I saw this post on Tumblr. Tumblr, is a bad place to be, but sometimes has some pretty good Lord of the Rings meta. Kind of like how Reddit is bad, but is a very good resource for Lord of the Rings memes. There was this thing that was talking about, like, why is death in Lord of the Rings so, like, why does it feel so different? Like, the really impactful ones. They made a very good point that, like, usually the music entirely stops. And the lighting is, like, really drab. And, like, the backgrounds are, like, super plain. And it's just, like, on a field, in a forest, something like that. And it makes death very, like, drab. And therefore they stand out so much from everything else, which usually has some kind of, like, a score or like the color grading in Lord of the Rings is really nice. But, like, I'm thinking specifically about Theoden's death, which is, like, kind of just like that dead yellow grass.
Yeah. Everything,
very good.
You feel a sense of loss because the things that make the film beautiful get leached out. That's really cool. Yeah, for a film that's just so... every frame has so much going on in it, that when you take out, you know, one element or all of them or something, it really makes... it's a really good way for them to, like, they make certain frames or certain moments really stand out because they're missing something, which is just a really cool... it's an interesting thing of where, like, you know, there's so many circumstances where, like, trying to make things bigger by topping what you were already doing just, like, wouldn't work that well. So instead you take it away.
Right, and then you're like, oh, there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. I'm looking at now just some screen caps of some of these scenes where like all the Rohirrim are on the hill before going down, and it's like this beautiful skyline and that army lined up, and it's just
so
like
gorgeous. With the
so much about
coming up.
the cinematography the cinematography of this movie is so like it's so good because so much of it is like I don't even think about it. And then I look at stills, and I'm like, God, what the fuck?
Yeah, you can pull almost any random still from Lord of the Rings, and it looks like a fucking like neoclassicist painting, and you just like freak the fuck out. And then I mean, not all of them are neoclassicists, mostly just Gondor. But you know what I mean. Or you can grab a screen cap and say, wow, this looks like a particular, mode of painting, but they all, it's like they're not, weirdly enough, the movie is not showing off. I don't feel like I'm like conscious that it's like shown off a ton while I'm watching the movies. Like, it doesn't get in the way of me, like, just getting swept up in the story.
They look like a lot of the illustrations in the book, I feel like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like this, or like the quality of light. I always think of that scene when they're in Moria, and when with Gandalf's staff is lit and they're running down, they're running in the halls.
Yeah.
It's like the quality of light is kind of almost an airbrushed, softer quality that reminds me a lot. Like, I'm putting the picture in the Discord now of like illustrations like the one of Minas Tirith, where it's just there's just a quality of light to it that is very, like what we've said, kind of watercolory, sort of very diffused light, very it's not gritty. I mentioned this here because that was kind of what like my main thought was. Like, everything just looks so like real, but also still fantastic. It's not that kind of gritty, like overly colorized, overly like fucking 300 Zack Snyder movie sort of grittiness, but it has a kind of magical quality to it while still feeling very lived in. Which is partly down to the CGI, which we've talked about, but it's also down to the sets and the costumes and everything.
Well, and all of the sets are, one of the things that has always struck me with Lord of the Rings is that the set dressing is so insanely good at making you feel like these buildings and all of the structures built by people have been where they are for fucking a bazillion years.
Yeah.
Like, the way they fit into the landscape is so lived in and so, like, you absolutely believe that these, like, those foundations have been there for generations.
I don't know if you're thinking,
and a lot of times they are literally built into the landscape.
Yeah, there's a lot of, everything's very much, it could only go in that very part. Like, if it had been built anywhere else, it would have been built differently.
The one that always fucks me up is, again, in Fellowship, when they pass through. What are those two dudes?
The Argonath!
Yeah.
The ones that I always giggle because somebody made the thing where they're going stop in the name of love, and that's just all I think about every single time now.
Oh, I always think of the one where someone painted them dabbing.
Yeah,
also extreme. Oh man, I want that as I'm getting a print of them dabbing and putting it on my fucking wall. And like, no, not only God can judge me, and it's not even fucking Yom Kippur yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always think that one always fucks me up. Not so much, like, it's already kind of eerie because they're passing through and they're just so huge. But what messes me up so much is when they pass through it and they show them from behind. Just kind of just being there as part of the landscape. It's one of those things that makes you feel how incredibly old the world is supposed to be.
And how incredibly, like, you get the sense that nobody living could build something like that anymore. I think that's another interesting thing is, and I'm not even really sure how to articulate, like, how they achieve that vibe, but it always feels so clear to me that like the monumental structures that people are sort of still living in and around are things that they could not replace. You know, they are quite like, it feels like all, like, especially the humans, but even the elves, like, that everybody's everywhere except the Shire. You're kind of living in the shadow of former greatness.
Mm-hmm.
In a really interesting way.
I just put a post in the Discord, which is one of my favorite posts of all time, because it's the Lord of the Rings is the Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome of the Elves post.
Yes.
But the part before it is talking about how, like, they spend so much of Lord of the Rings traveling through literal ruins. These massive statues that have fallen to pieces, or buildings that are that have no walls anymore and are just kind of like the floors that have been left behind. And the idea that, like, so much of this stuff has just kind of fallen away because there's no one around to rebuild it anymore, or no one knows how to anymore. Like, there's like, as far as we see, there are 2 last great kingdoms of elves. Maybe 3, if you're including wherever Legolas is from. I know where Legolas is from. I don't know why I said it like that. But the Mirkwood elves are, like, extremely remote. And they're kind of seen as, like, oh, those are those, like, you know, weird, like, Mirkwood elves.
Yeah, the Mirkwood elves are like the fucking... They're the fair folk. Like, they're not out here building cathedrals. They're out here, like, souring milk and stealing babies.
Yeah, they're the black sheep of the elves, essentially. They're, you know, they're spending a lot of time living in one of the most dangerous parts of the world, like getting drunk.
Well, we've seen what Thranduil looked like in middle school. I can't remember his name, but...
Yeah, that's you know.
Yeah.
That
wow, can't believe that the elves of the Greenwood are like hillbillies in a good way, because they're basically like getting drunk and like riding on like contraptions that go fast and like shooting the wildlife all while they're drunk.
Yeah, basically.
Fuck yeah. Needs to be the icon for this week's episode.
But so you have like the last 2 great kingdoms of elves. Once again, Rivendell is the only one travelers ever go to. People do not go to where Galadriel lives because they're also extremely remote. They're kind of like bougie is the idea. And then there's like the one last great city of men, because the other one is gone, and Rohan is a bunch of villages on hills. Like, all of these great structures which men and elves once had are gone, and, like, people are dying left and right. And there's just not really much left. And I think part of it is the fact that they are walking through all of these places that have fallen to ruin, and, like, people just don't talk about it. Like, the idea that there's all these ruins here, that's just how it is. It's just been that way for so long that people don't remember when these were buildings.
Yeah, there's nobody left alive who knew anybody who was left alive when these things were, as the you know, you have tales, but that's not really... Tales are tales.
Except for...
how much impact they have on different characters, like, says a lot about those characters, but it's not uniform.
Right. The only exception might be, like, Galadriel or something.
Yeah,
once again, all of those people are hidden away in their forest, and one of the first things we learn about the elves is they're all leaving to the west, is they are leaving this land forever.
Yeah, Galadriel's not exactly out here, like, giving TED Talks on, like, the glories of the former Middle-earth.
No, she's planning on leaving Middle-earth behind forever. Goodbye. And she, like, that's it. Middle-earth's on its own now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just, it's a very, you know, that's a hell of a vibe, like, for, you know, we think of, you know, you think of, like, swords and sorcery, and, like, the kind of the stereotype of the fantasy epic is so often either about, like, people at, like, the height of their power, or, like, the beaten down underdog, but, like, recently beaten down underdog. And this is just, like, no, dog, like, this is just the world that everybody lives in. And it's full of these shadows and dreams of former glories, but, you know, former glories don't till your fields or fucking protect you from orcs. I mean, sometimes they sort of do, if you know, you can run to Helm's Deep, but... And
don't get your walls blown up by your piece of sewer system.
Well, you know, the wizards invented gunpowder, and Gandalf made fireworks, and Saruman made dynamite, because he's a bitch.
Yeah. Because fuck that guy.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
And that's all set design, baby.
Yeah, there's a random thing. I've watched a lot of the, like, making of featurettes on the DVDs, as I've said many times. And one of the things that, like, the level of a just batshit attention to detail that happened in the making of these films includes things like when people were drawing up, like, what they wanted the shit in Minas Tirith to look like, they were labeling storefronts and stuff. And they were kind of just doing it because they needed, like, placeholders. And they labeled one rat catchers. Mm-hmm. And it just got left on there, you know, it was literally supposed to be a placeholder. And then when the people who had done the original drawings got to the set, there was a whole ass rat catchers. Like, they had made that into a real, like, into a part of the set that was, like, recognizably a rat catchers. And it's in the film. It's like, on the corner, and it shows up during the siege of Minas Tirith. There's a shot where people are running away over the bodies of dead guardsmen. And there's all these, like, cages and stuff hanging from the shop front. I am pretty sure I'm remembering that correctly. And, like, you know, that's not a fucking plot point. That's not anything. That's just somebody wrote rat catchers, and like, 5 people probably spent, like, 3 entire days making this into, like, a real thing. Everything is so... It's like, you know, one of the really cool things that you can do with movies is that you can, it's like, so, you know, where you think, if you think about, like with stage stuff, like, everything has to be there. You're so limited in what you can have that's, like, that's, like, actually, like, made like it's real. And, like, movies are like, well, you know, like, if you have the money and the time and all this stuff, you can just make the real damn thing.
Yeah.
And for so much shit in these movies, it was like, well, we're just gonna make the real goddamn thing.
And it fucking pays off.
Yeah, and it fucking pays off, and it's, you know, once again, it's like, why do the practical effects stand up so well? Because it's real. Because that really existed. And it just makes, like, the level of how much all of these places feel like real places, and they're so in tune with, you know, the set design is so in tune with the costuming, is so in tune with sort of what you see of how the cultures function. Like, each place feels like such a complete and coherent, you're like, yes, of course, this group of people who lives in houses that look like this would dress like this, and you can imagine what kind of food they eat, and it's all of the cultures feel so 3-dimensional, and every aspect of their design has been thought through and made to work in harmony with all the other aspects.
There's never a point where I am sitting there thinking, like, oh, wow, they're at a set right now. Which, for someone who spends a lot of time watching movies, and, like, I don't ever look at stuff like that and think, like, oh, they're watching a set right now, like, negatively. I always think, like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I wonder what it would be like to be on that set or whatever. Like, I look for that kind of stuff in, like, an appreciative way. But I literally never think about watching Lord of the Rings because I don't think, like, oh, this is, like, a fake place. It's like, nope, this makes sense. Like, these pieces all fit together, and, like, they went back to the Middle Ages to shoot this. I don't know. Like, I never have to suspend my disbelief because there's never a moment that feels like this is a modern, like, audience, or, like, a modern group making something old. It's like, no, this is just, like, they just went here and did this. All this stuff was already there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Down to, like, the props. I'm thinking about, like, I do notice every time when they're forging the swords for the orcs, for the Urukai, I always think about how well their weaponry suits them. Like, it's blunt and crude, and, like, barely sharp. It's definitely a hacking weapon rather than a slicing weapon.
Yeah.
So I do think, like, oh god, this piece of weaponry suits their whole thing so well, especially because it's like, you can tell these are mass-produced for a large army, because Tolkien said, fuck the Industrial Revolution.
And he was right.
Literally in text. Sorry, Hannah.
No, I was just saying, he was right.
And he was right. But I'm also thinking about, like, the mugs they drink out of, in Rohan. Like, I just had that moment where I was like, those look perfect. Like, I don't know why I'm, like, thinking about them and how well it's like, yeah, those look like that is the people that would have crafted them, rather than being, like, generic medieval, like, mugs or whatever, pints. It's a weird detail, but, like, I'm like, wow, like, that's a detail that you could easily just kind of skirt over, and they didn't.
I know, it's like, I can't think of, like, a single thing that I would call a shortcut taken at all in the design of the Lord of the Rings films. It's like every single thing you can think of is, like, the opposite of a shortcut.
Yeah. They don't even have
any, like, all the long cuts.
They don't have, like, generic costumes either. I put a couple of photos in comparing the armor of the Rohirrim to the armor of the Men of Gondor, and the elves. I like armor.
Yeah.
And I like costumes.
Armor is super dope. I will say that for this episode, I actually have a source I can cite, because at the used bookstore, I fucking got a, like, visual companion book that's called Lord of the Rings Weapons and Warfare by Chris Smith, and it's just full of, like, all these extremely dope, like, close-up, like, all these breakdowns of, like, arms and armaments and, like, battles and stuff. It's extremely rad.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see this book at some point. But these armor photos I found, because I wanted crowd shots to compare, like, large groups of soldiers. And they also have, like, shots of just, like, random people. And I'm like, wow, they did not put any of these people in, like, you all are wearing the same 3 dress or whatever. Like, some of these people are wearing, like, necklaces and stuff. Like you're like, oh, they all have their own clothes that they wear. The only people that look uniform...
That's so ape shit.
The soldiers look uniform. The soldiers of Gondor specific, and the elves look extremely uniform. The Rohirrim actually don't look super. Like, even they look like they have, like, just, like, little things. Like, it could be the nature of their armor. Each one just fits a little differently, rather than plate, which, like, is a pretty standard fit. Like, it doesn't drape the way scale can, so it just kind of looks a little different. But
well, I think the interesting thing there is that, like, the vibe that you get from the Rohirrim, like, in terms of what their government is like, is definitely seems, like, reads as much more kind of what we might call, like, feudal. Where, because you're constantly, like, Theoden's constantly talking about, like, how many people did we get from that are under the banner of, like, such and such lord? You know, he's not necessarily, like, the super supreme commander of all of the, you know, there's not, like, a standing army, because part of the thing is, like, when Éomer gets banished, he like rides off with most of Rohan's standing army, whereas like Gondor is presented as having much more of a sort of organized and formal like standing defense force. Also, I realized that we omitted an F in the chat for people who didn't make it into the movies last time. So this is my apologetic F in the chat for Imrahil of Dol Amroth and the Swan Knights, because in the books Gondor has much more of a vibe of like there are very powerful lords who you know control territory and levies of fighting men and all of this stuff that like are also, you know, powers within Gondor, and the movies are very much like not there's one person who's in charge of Gondor, which like, you know, makes sense. We didn't need like a fucking digression on, oh wait, hang on, who the fuck is that? Like, there's only so much who the fuck is that you can, like, reasonably deal with, I think, in a movie. But I just think that Imrahil and the Swan Knights of Dol Amroth are extremely cool, so that's my... And it would have been fun to see what a workshop make the Swan Knight outfits. That's it, that's the post.
In a similar vein, I realized last time I said that every episode is going to have, oh, we fucked up in the last episode, here's my apology.
Yeah, well, whatever.
This one is me being like, I said the Blue Wizards are talked about in the Silmarillion, they're not, they're in the Unfinished Tales, that's where you hear about them in more detail. Sorry. Jolkin had like 1 million books, and sometimes it's hard to keep track of what he talked about and what. I said the Silmarillion, and as I was saying it, I was like, that doesn't sound right, but I can't think of what else it could be. It was the Unfinished Tales, so. But I'm not talking about the Blue Wizards anymore. They've had their time. They're not in the movies. We can't talk about their costumes.
We can talk about, how cool... Man, you know, it's interesting, like, I'm sure for more casual viewers, I can't really imagine what it would be like to be a casual viewer of these films, because I've never been one. I can imagine that there are, like, pairs or sets of characters that people have a hard time telling apart, but I think that generally these movies do a very good job of keeping people's visual, like, aesthetics distinctive. I know that this is something that they, like, worked really hard on in the Hobbit movies, is that all of the dwarves needed to have a distinctive silhouette so that you could tell them apart when they were, like, far away shots. But, like, even if you think about, like Gandalf and Saruman, it would be really easy for those two characters to look a lot alike because they're generic wizards, but, like, everything about them head to toe is such a contrast. And then even when Gandalf shows back up and he is, as he says, I'm Saruman as he should be, he still, like, looks different. You know, it's not like he's like, and now he's wearing the Saruman weird dress roby thing. It's everyone's clothes and all of this stuff are so individualized, it makes them look like real people who have preferences.
I would say really the only people I feel like you could mix up some of the, like, Rohirrim background guys who show up a few times. Just because there's, like, a couple of them, and, like, they wear similar pieces, but, like, they're soldiers, they're wearing armor. Like, of course they look the same. They're wearing uniform armor. And those are the only one, and those are, I get those guys mixed up sometimes, because there's, like, 2 of them, and they say their names, like, once.
Yeah.
But everyone else, I'm thinking, like, you could feasibly mix up, like, Faramir and Boromir. if you're not paying super close attention, if you're just thinking...
I feel like it's like you're more likely to be mixing up the names because they sound the same. Like, there's more people whose names sound the same. You're gonna be mixing up who is who rather than thinking that, like, multiple people are actually the same person.
Right. Or I was thinking also, Haldir and Legolas are other ones that you could be like, well, if it wasn't for the fact that their faces are so completely different, but the thing is like, Haldir is wearing a completely different set of armor, because he's from a completely different set of elves. Yep. And his job is so different. Yeah, his job is so different from Legolas's. Yeah. Yes. Sorry, I talked over you.
No, I don't. I just, like, got really excited about, like, you can grab any random elf extra and you can tell where they're from, like, if you're just looking at them on, like, a white background. You know, they're, like, out of context, you can tell, are they from Rivendell? Are they from Lothlorien? Are they one of Legolas's bros from the Greenwood? Like, they're all elves, and they're all even though they all sort of, like, have a lot of the same kind of, like, they're all tall, skinny, long hair, etc., like, their design choices are very definitive. And it means that you can tell them apart quickly and easily.
Mm-hmm. I touched on this a little bit, but also, like, the fact that you could extremely easily tell apart the differences between the soldiers of Rohan and the soldiers of Gondor is, like, like, all of them are just, like, people. They don't really have, like, I mean, like, most of the men of Rohirrim have, like, blonde to reddish blonde hair, and most of the men of Gondor have, like, actually, that's not true. It's true in the books that most of the men of Gondor have dark hair, but in the movies, that's not true.
They didn't really go in for that.
Yeah, but the fact that their armor is so different that if you see a bunch of them, like, flying by in the battlefield, you're like, oh, I know which army they're with. Like, I know who, like, that is very cool. And also, like, as a nerd, I spent a lot of time looking at the two being like, oh, I can infer, like, maybe why, they have armor that is like this as opposed to the guys who have armor like this. Which is, like, that's a lot of time and effort that wasn't necessary. But also it's that's good world building, that is.
Yeah, it's all part and parcel of just the every time you think you've exhausted the detail of the world building, like, you fucking haven't. There's, like, I always feel like there's always more, cool and interesting details for me to pick up on. Just because, the level of complexity that it was produced by hundreds of artists and artisans pouring literal years of their lives into making these movies. Like, if you just think about the sheer number of hands that went into this shit, it's just, like, unreal. Like, fucking, man, the tree that is on top of Bag End, that, like, they put this tree there, like, it's a fucking real tree, but it, like, died. And so they covered the whole bastard in hand-painted silk leaves.
Oh my god.
The leaves on the Yep. CGI who? Like... Anyway, if you ever want to just, like, bask in, just a bazillion hours of, like, people who are incredibly dedicated to their jobs making cool shit that someone's gonna see on camera for, like, 3.5 seconds out of focus, and they don't even care that it's never gonna be seen, please watch, like, all of the making of shit on the, extended editions. because the amount of effort and attention to detail that went into every frame of these films is just mind-boggling.
Yeah. You could tell that there was a lot of love put into it.
Yeah.
I will say real quick, I just remembered when I was younger, I had a harder time telling Merry and Pippin apart, which is I think that's understandable. They're literally together almost all the time.
I feel like out of all, that was the one that I would say you would be most likely to mix up.
Right, but
Merry
what's
Pippin.
The easy thing is Pippin always has a scarf. That's how do we easily differentiate what they look like? Pippin always has a scarf. They're done. That's an easy offhand reminder of until they get separated, Pippin is always wearing a scarf, and then they're separated and you don't have to worry about that so much anymore. So he stops wearing it. But it's that's such a they figure out ways to make here's an easy reference for I could just say that and someone will be like, oh, I can remember that.
Yeah, he's the one with the scarf.
He's the one with the scarf.
Yeah, it is really cool. I love, man, there's so many things that are, it's not just that people are easy to tell apart, and then then you get into the everybody has their signature thing. If you think about it, one of them, honestly, is Gimli's always wearing a helm. He's the only person in the Fellowship who's consistently not gonna get a fucking concussion. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
He's bitch, I am ready. No one is getting the drop on me. I don't care if you hit me in the head with a big sword. Get fucked. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Helms are important.
Mm-hmm.
Protect your noggin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Helm turned on.
Yeah. Yeah, Gimli fucking never turns hats off in Dragon Age.
Yeah. How else will I know that they're being safe?
Oh man, and now I'm just thinking about just take a second. I'm sure everybody who traveled between the years of 2001 and 2012, if you've ever seen a Sky Mall catalog,
no,
just think about how many super fucking iconic things got designed for these movies to the point that you could reasonably sell replicas of them that cost hundreds of dollars, and you're damn right I would buy them. Someday I'm gonna own the Even Star pendant. I really am. Stuff that's not even the Even Star pendant, obviously it shows up in the book, but there's no it never says what it looks like. It's a gem.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever, and that's that thing becomes so instantly recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
The swords are instantly recognizable. Fucking everybody knows what Sting looks like with that wild leaf-shaped blade.
Mm-hmm.
That's bonkers. It's instantly recognizable. Things with, obviously there's the ring, but there's just so many of them where you're oh, that's, you can look at a thing and you're oh, okay, I can tell what, where in Middle Earth that belongs, but you just know immediately that it's a Lord of the Rings thing.
Mm-hmm. Thinking about the fact that a bunch of us got Leaves of Lorien over several years at Rose City. I don't know where mine is.
Oh no!
But the pin was broken anyway, so.
Mine is hanging off of a push pin next to my bed.
Yeah, I need to find mine, but that
is just a feature, not a bug, because mine's broken too. I mean, when I've worn it, it's always a struggle to not make sure the pin is coming loose and sticking me in my chest.
Yeah. That's why I stopped wearing mine.
Those things are thirsty for blood, but they're very pretty.
The person who made them did a really, really good job. But yeah, the fact that we all saw those and could buy them, from just that's a very iconic image. There's a lot of them. I think you're totally right, Z.
I have decided that someday I'm going to get a tattoo of the vial of Galadriel, but have it filled in with UV reactive ink.
Yes.
So that it glows under a black light.
Yeah, that's gonna be so good. Do we want to talk about music? Helen, I know you made some good notes.
Before we talk about music, we have one more fucking iconic costuming thing to talk about. It was the joke at the beginning of this episode, and we have to talk about it. It's the bracers.
Oh, yes!
So, you think about it, so, just talking about, like, thematic clothing items, right? You've got Boromir's, like, traveling outfit. He's not wearing... He's not super overtly displaying the white tree of Gondor. Like when you meet Faramir, all of the rangers have the tree worked into their leather jerkins, all this stuff. Everybody's always wearing their Gondor shit. Well, Boromir is, because he has these leather vambraces that have the feathers that are for the like gull wing, all the gull wing imagery that's on the Gondor stuff, and the white tree and 7 stars of Gondor. And he wears them the whole movie, and he wears them when he is killed in Parth Galen. And when Legolas and Gimli and Aragorn are preparing his body to go over the Falls of Rauros, Aragorn takes the vambraces off, and we see him putting them on, and he wears them all the way through the film, the whole rest of his journey, when Arwen, and not only that, when Arwen has her vision of him, growing old and dying, and her, spending her whole life fading away, he is in this vision buried wearing them, carved on his tomb effigy wearing them, and then in the actual timeline he wears them. I can tell you right now, because the fucking cover of this handy dandy book that I've got is him leading the armies of the West at the Black Gate, and he's wearing the vambraces. He's wearing them when he fucking gets crowned as King of Gondor. So, sometimes you just,
fellas?
carry, so, fellas, is it gay to, carry a piece of your friend who you had kind of an antagonistic relationship with, but then found really inspiring and then held as he died, for your whole life? Fellas?
Who was the first person to ever recognize you as king, even though the fact that, like, when you first met him, as adults, he refused to acknowledge you as king. Anyway.
Just Boromir who goes from Gondor has no king, Gondor needs no king, to I would have followed you, my brother,
my captain, my king. Fellas!
Yep.
Is it gay?
Fellas. It's gay, fellas.
So yeah. Anyway, and when I say that we all get, like, this podcast flips shit every time you see Aragorn tightening those bracers and ready to ride off, and it just is like, because he's taking Boromir's fucking steadfast belief in the capacity of men to be true. Aragorn's initial hang-ups are so much about the idea that men can't be trusted to keep their promises. And, like, Boromir die, like, the last thing he does is, like, absolve Boromir of his fear that he's failed to keep his promises. And then fucking rides off to keep his promises.
Yep. Yeah.
And this is the story of how I died.
And that's how... Yep. Children, that's how I died.
That's how...
I think that Viggo was the one who also made that call. Like, he was like, why... Yeah, I think Viggo was like, hey, like, I don't know if he was like, wouldn't it make sense to, or if he was like, I would like to,
nice.
or whatever it was, but I think Vigo was the one who made the suggestion, and everyone was like, oh yes, that's extremely good, actually. And Vigo was right. And we love him.
He did that for us.
I always love that the bracers curl up a little bit at the tip where, anyone who's wearing it, where their hand would, like, when you're, like, pushing yourself up or whatever, would naturally, like, curl the leather. You could tell it bends up a little bit there from long, like, years of use. Which is, like, that's, like, a cool little thing. And, like, also I'm sure that happened naturally while both of them were wearing it. For different scenes and stuff, like that's just kind of what happens to leather when you wear it and you're moving around in it a lot, but it's a cool thing that looks good. So now that we've talked about, I've never talked about costumes enough, but now that we've talked about costumes enough for right now.
Yeah, there's like, I have so much yelling that, I have one more shout out. I just need to make one more shout out. I mean, it's a shout out to all of Arwen's costumes, but I would like to pour one out. I would like to raise a glass very specifically to the dress that Arwen wears that is one of the very first times I can ever remember definitively feeling attraction to a woman. And it's the fucking flashbacks in Rivendell where she is wearing this very sheer, very, very pale lavender, like, drapey-necked kind of Grecian gown thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of translucent, and, like, she's backlit, and you see, like, the outline of her, like, insanely beautiful live legs, and then, like, you get there's a bunch of shots of her, like, in profile from, like, waist up. And there's just, every time I just yell side boob, which is so crass, but it's like...
That's the dress.
It's just that dress is one of the very first times, like, not the first time I saw it, but, like, when I was a little bit older, because that was when I was, like, 11. Mm-hmm. But, you know, when I was, like, maybe, like, 13 or 14, like, that is just one of the very first times in my life that I can remember, like, just getting, like, fucking hit over the head with, like, a cartoon, like, you know, 1,600-pound Looney Tunes weight by how that just, oh my god, women.
Woman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Woman. Yeah. There you go. That's it. I'm gay for basically everybody in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, we do love that dress, though.
It's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
All of hers are just, man, you can tell that the costumers were like, there's so few, I get to make so few pretty dresses, I really need to go all out.
I know, I have to make all this fucking armor, I'm gonna make this goddamn side boob dress. For fuck's sake.
I'm gonna do this for her and for me.
I'm gonna do this for the goddamn lesbians. For the Woolawas. This is for them. Anyway. Tunes.
Oh.
The tunes.
Talk about tunes.
Tunes. Helena, we've been talking a lot. Do you have anything you want to say? If not, we can take it over. But you wrote some stuff, and I want you to talk about some stuff.
I just wrote a couple teeny things. I just love the Rohan theme so fucking much, and I die every time I hear it. It makes me cry. It's a slappity tune. It also was like, I can't remember if I heard this on the soundtrack show. So for those of you who are interested in like getting more in depth into like the music theory of a lot of the music in Lord of the Rings, I don't know anything about that, and I can't regurgitate it back, but I have listened to episodes of the soundtrack show where they talk about the music in Fellowship. And I think this is where I heard it, that like the Rohan theme was one of those things that I can't remember if it was one of the later themes that Howard Shore was writing, but Peter Jackson wanted it to be really something that really stuck in your brain, and that was really memorable. And so that was one of the things like it Howard Shore wrote over and over again to try and get it right, you know, and it worked. But yeah, I would highly recommend those episodes of the soundtrack show because he talks a lot about the kind of styles and the techniques that Howard Shore was using when he was writing each of the different themes. There's a rep site. There's a website, Shaggy. There's a website called
Rutrow.
The musical themes in Lord of the Rings, where someone has broken down a lot of the different themes that we hear in the movie. There's another one that I really like a lot that he's labeled the rescue theme or the moth theme, which just plays every time rescue is happening. The reason that it's called the moth theme is because we first hear it in Fellowship when a moth appears to Gandalf when he's imprisoned in Orthanc, and then
the world's luckiest moth.
The world's luckiest moth, and then in Return of the King 2, you see it when they're on the battlefield outside of Mordor, and the moth is like, "What's up? I brought some eagles with me." But you hear it a few more times, particularly in a really what's the word I'm looking for? I guess martial is the word I'm looking for. When the Ents start marching down towards Isengard, you can hear it, and it's really dope and badass. There's
I love that piece of music so much.
It's so beautiful and so simple. There's so many different themes. There's like even the Shire theme. He's like, oh yeah, there's a rustic Shire theme and an expansive Shire theme and a setting out theme. There's like the Fellowship theme, of course. There's the Rohan theme. There's the Ring theme. There's all of the different evil themes. He's broken down.
The Ring one, just like, I've heard it, 10,000 times, but it just makes my skin crawl. It's so good.
Evil. He does a whole thing, I think, one episode about just that theme alone, and why it sounds so fucked up. Yeah, it's so deeply, deeply wrong.
Yeah, it is. It's
that's kind of all I have to say. I really recommend that people listen to those episodes because they're like it's really
I've listened to them like 2 times. I hardcore recommend them. They're so nitty gritty and like, welcome to this podcast. Like, I don't know jack about music theory. Somebody tried to make me memorize the circle of fifths one time and I ran screaming in the other direction. I can read music and that's like it.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't even do that. So
that's all I need for my singing purposes, and that's all I can do.
I think one of the dope things, well, first of all, one of the extremely dope things about that wacky, really scrapey fiddle sound that you hear that's like the iconic version of the Rohan theme, is an instrument, and I am so sorry to like so sorry to the Norwegian language for what's about to come out of my mouth. But it's called a hardangervelle. And it's a type of instrument similar to a violin, but instead of having 4 strings, it has 8, that are sort of like layered on top of one another. So you bow the top 4 strings, and the other 4 strings are tuned in such a way that they resonate, but you're not actually touching them. Mm-hmm. So it creates this extra level of harmony on there, and it really just doesn't sound like anything else. And so it's like the Rohirrim show up and like they don't sound like anybody else in those movies, and so it's so different, and it's like it's like the perfect instrument for those windswept plains. Mm-hmm. It's just so cool. And then the other thing that's like extremely cool, that you like, when you find out about it, you kind of flip shit, is like how many times when there's like choral stuff happening on the soundtrack, that so often they're fucking singing Professor Jolkin's like elvish poetry, that's like thematically fucking appropriate for the, and you're just like, which I think we talked about last episode, but like, it just catch me, every single time somebody's like, oh, by the way, what they're singing is this, and I just like throw up my hands and do the I guess meme, but like good.
Yeah.
It's just it's so involved. Especially, I mean, they're all really involved, but the music for Return of the King, I think, is especially, just because like there's the lighting of the beacons, obviously, which is the Gondor theme, plus like just a bunch of other cool shit leading up to it. And then
that piece of music will never, like, I get like the ASMR shiver.
Yeah.
When that music, the first time that piece just swells, it just fucking hits me like a freight train. Like, I'm getting shivers just fucking playing it in my head.
Yeah. That and, like, it's like 14 minutes long on the extended soundtrack. I don't know how long it is on the original. But the whole piece that's, like, the end of, it's I think it starts right when Frodo's just, like, looking up at the eagles that are carrying him, and he's like, oh, dope. And then he wakes up in Gondor, and all that music that's playing when he's seeing his friends again. Just listening to it just absolutely fucking kills me. Even though I know that, like, which each person that's entering on each musical cue, once Aragorn enters, it's like, oh, everybody's here except for Sam, and then there's, like, the full Fellowship theme starts after the Gondor theme. And then, like, so I know the music that also is playing when Legolas enters the room, so there is a moment where, like, I'm going through the same exact emotional journey just listening to the music that I do when I watch the scene, because of course there's no dialogue in the scene, it's just music and people laughing. But yeah, I do kind of, like, do that thing where it does take me out of it. He sees Legolas, no fucking clue who that man is.
Who?
Holmes?
God, yeah, I do.
Sorry,
you, like, imagine that they must have interacted, like, that we didn't see, but then you think about the fact where, like, Legolas goes, you and my bow, and then they, like, never speak again.
Yeah. Never once have a real conversation, you know, and that's fine. I had plenty of coworkers like that, you know?
Yeah, that doesn't mean you don't like them.
Yeah, I would have probably died for them too, so...
I mean, everybody had their own little cliques in the Fellowship, and it doesn't mean that the affection was any less between the two of them.
Yes, true.
So, yeah, it's still so fucking funny.
that is extremely good and hilarious.
It's not just that he doesn't say anything, it's also, like, the look on his face. It's kind of like, is the exact look that you get in the face when somebody stops you in the street and they're like, oh my god, it's so great to see you, and you're just like, oh my god, yeah, oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know.
Waiting for them to say their name so that you won't have to try and remember it and get it wrong. It's that look. It's exactly that face.
The gift set that has him saying everyone's name, and then he gets to Legolas and it's just like 12 question marks at the bottom is like, that's just what I think about every time.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not wrong. You really are not wrong. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's so fucking funny. It's actually almost funny when it's still.
My cats when I'm gone for more than, like, 2 hours.
Oh my god. Fuck. Funny. Oh.
Gimli!
Somebody! It's like, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, it's so good to see you!
This man here, love this man.
Yeah. Love this guy. This guy couldn't have done it without him.
It's like the Lord of the Rings
Gimli's boyfriend.
Character equivalent of Donkey in Shrek going, I like that boulder. That's a nice boulder.
I like that elf.
Sure, why not?
Oh man,
it's so funny.
You know what's just, like, objectively not fair is that there's all this insanely beautiful instrumental music, and then they fucking wrote a grand total of, like, 3 songs. Well, there's, like, snippets of songs with words, but, like, not non-diegetic, like, songs with lyrics. Mm-hmm. They wrote 3 of them, and fucking all 3 of those are bangers. Yeah,
and all 3 of them make me cry, like, every fucking time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Into the West, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, this group of people, yeah, we all fucking, every time we all get together and watch all 3 Lord of the Rings movies, we are all left sobbing and singing along with Into the West.
Yeah, why did the White Gull call, huh?
Oh,
how about
man.
that?
Yeah, shout out to Annie Lennox for writing some beautiful shit. And to Enya.
Yeah.
And to Enya.
Yeah. And to Enya, really just knocking it out of the goddamn park.
What's the song at the end of Two Towers?
May it be.
Gollum's song.
It's May It Be.
Or May It Be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
you're right, it is
No, May It
Gollum's
Be is
song,
at the end of... I'm literally looking at the Wikipedia right now.
Yeah.
May It Be is at the end of Fellowship.
I love Gollum's song. It's weird and I love it. Mostly, although, yeah, like, to be honest, mostly it's just that, Into the West is, like, just...
Oh, it's so good. Literally just sitting here thinking about Into the West.
I feel like there's definitely gonna be...
Insane.
Oh god. There's definitely gonna be parts of these podcasts that get cut out that are just, like, the three of us trailing off and, like, fucking emoting about
Just
Lord of the Rings.
thinking about, yeah. There's a whole ass
thinking about them.
many thoughts. There's a whole ass Wikipedia article that's the music of the Lord of the Rings film series, that I'm just looking through right now. I would say I have a decent natural ear for music, but I have no training whatsoever. I can barely read music if you give me a note to start with. And I also just, like, I really like music, but I don't pay a lot of attention to instrumental stuff, so I just don't know anything about this stuff, really, at all. But I love reading, like, this shit. Like, reading about all the, like, is it leitmotifs? Is that how you say it? The L-E-I-T...
I think it's leitmotifs.
Leitmotifs?
Oh, really? That's one of those words that, like, you know...
I also think it might be one. Yeah, it might be one of those things where it's like, oh, that heavily depends on what regional English you speak.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And also, it's, like, one of those words that advanced reader's problem when I saw it before I heard it, so I have no idea how it's pronounced.
Yeah, when you are an advanced reader who is not from a, like, university professor background. Yeah, and you just don't know words and how they sound. I just think they're so interesting. There's a piece where Shore wrote over 100 unique musical themes to represent different specific people, places, and things in Middle-earth. Over 160 if you count The Hobbit. So first of all, fuck The Hobbit. You didn't get as many fucking musical themes. Fuck you.
Yeah, get wrecked.
But also talking about, like, how he, like, Aragorn's theme is really, really, really subtle, because Aragorn himself just, like, changes so much, and, like, takes on so much of what he is around, and, like, he gets, like, his stuff gets played on different instruments depending on where he's in, or where he is at. That sentence was not very good.
That's so cool. Shit.
Yeah. I paid attention mostly to the Shire theme, because that's the most obvious one, and therefore that's the one I can pick up on. But anytime they play literally any version of the Shire theme, I'm like, no, I'm fine. No, don't worry about it. Just because, like, they use it so fucking much. It gets used so much, but every single time it's like, it just gets you. Because it changes so drastically for when you first hear it in concerning hobbits. And they use it for all different kinds of, like, really emotional moments for all four of the hobbits, and it's so good. It's so good, guys.
It's very beautiful.
It is very beautiful.
This is an interesting one where I think there's a few places where, like, Howard Shore, instead of, because usually, like, for film composers, you are scoring an already existing film, but because Howard Shore, like, started working on the music early on in late 2000, when they were, like, early in the production of Fellowship, like, he was fucking writing music for, like,
Places.
how places were gonna feel, like, before there was footage to actually score. And so it's so interesting to think that this is that the music got to grow and develop organically along with all of the other creative parts of the process, which is so, like, not the way that that part of the art usually works with the other parts of the art, that sentence got right the fuck away from me.
I get you, though.
And then, you also get shit like fucking all of the little Hobbit songs are both adorable and iconic, and they sound exactly the way that you would think that they would sound. And then you get fucking Billy Boyd just annihilating all of us. Kill me.
I have another fun fact here that's
me.
composing the Lord of the Rings trilogy soundtrack took 4 years.
Like, that's bug fucking insane.
For comparison, John Williams spent around 14 weeks on each Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
So for the entire original trilogy, it's about 40 weeks. So for 3 other movies, it took 4 goddamn years.
Yep, it's a lot of music, man.
Music.
Yeah.
What is
It does make you lose control.
It does. Did you see the meme?
Oh, I see all the memes, Helena.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I see dead memes. They're everywhere.
Is there anything else that I'm gonna be, mad that I didn't take time to shout about?
Well, we can always talk about it next time, too, but...
We can't always talk about it next time, it's true. I'm just thinking about, oh boy. Everything just feels so lived in. I just keep coming back to that everything just feels so... All of the clothes feel so lived in, and the places and all of this stuff, is just so... It feels so real. And it's such a concrete world that the alchemy of my preteen fucking, I'm younger than that, my 10-year-old overactive imagination brain with this world that I got dropped into that was just so rich and varied and layered and all of this stuff that it's kind of amazing to me even now how much the world of the Lord of the Rings films is this place that I can just live in my imagination.
Mm-hmm. It was very much pre-built for playing pretend when you're a kid, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It just, you could just tumble head first into it, and there was an answer for everything you could think of.
Especially if you were a big nerd and you could find, additional books on stuff.
Yeah, it's the comprehensiveness is peerless.
Mind-boggling, truly.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you just, you turn around and you get shit fucking they built what was at the time the largest freestanding prop ever made, which is the dead Mumakil. That Pippin finds Merry in front of.
Yeah.
That's technically a prop. And not
I didn't know
a
that.
set piece. Yeah, it counts as a prop, not a set piece. And it was the largest prop ever constructed. A single prop. And then, that would the bigatures. The 14-foot tall, quote-unquote, miniature version of Minas Tirith.
I was just thinking that.
That's, done in this, just the kind of exhaustive detail that makes anybody who's ever painted a D&D mini fucking weep. Because they're just I have a fucking inkling of how difficult that was, and that fucker was 14 feet tall!
Oh my god. I want to see it in real life so bad. I dream of it.
I dream of it. And then, just these things that are like, the imagery is so iconic. Like, Maddie has framed in their apartment a watercolor of the Horn of Gondor that I made for them.
I think you have also a lino cut I did of the Shards of Narsil.
Yeah, I do. It hangs. It's on my bedroom wall, and it is one of the fucking raddest things.
My block for that is starting to fall apart. I need to recut it. Actually,
yes, I want a back patch.
Yeah, but the fact that it was like
dope.
relatively easy to do something like that.
Yeah.
To create something very iconic that people could look at and be like, oh, I know exactly what that is. It says a thing. Helen's just posting photos of Lord of the Rings cosplayers in the chat.
Yeah, it's extremely cute.
Which is very fun.
Well, I started out with the
someday
bad
we'll do
Halloween
that
costumes.
cosplay group.
Someday we will do that cosplay group. It's very true.
Oh, speaking of costumes, I just remembered when I was a ranger for Halloween when I was 12.
Oh my god, that's so fun!
Mm-hmm. Thanks to my stepmom for sewing that cloak for me.
Can we just think about how different Faramir looks when he goes from his ranger outfit to the armor of the guard of the Citadel.
Mm-hmm.
So those black and silver that just look so funereal.
I'm terrified to look at this Gollum costume that you've linked.
God, I'm gonna do it.
The armor of the Men of Gondor just looks so like cold. And like I don't know what about it just looks like the garb of men going to be like buried in tombs. Maybe it's because my direct connection to it is they all go off into a field to die. But, like, it looks so much like all the statues that you see of... Oh, I hate it. It looks so much like these statues that you see all around Middle-earth. That's what their armor is so indicative of, that, of course, it looks like they look like statues. Or they look like guys who are, like, about to be buried.
Yeah,
and have their effigies carved in stone.
They look anachronistic in a way that really no other fighting force does. And part of it, I think, is that they are so uniform. The Rohirrim have color palettes and armor styles and all of this stuff in common, but they're not wearing identical mass-produced arms and armor. In a way, and even the Rangers of Ithilien, like, they all wear their cloaks differently, and they, like, not everybody's wearing exactly the same armor setup, because they're clearly, like, you wear what works for you, but the sort of, that parade get up, everyone is, it looks really fancy, everybody looks exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. It's
all
very
of
ceremonial.
Their horses, it's very ceremonial. All of their horses are kitted out identically. You can't help but because the only times you've seen those kinds of things, it ends up hearkening back to the prologue with the last alliance of elves and men.
Yes.
And that was kind of the last time you saw these things. And so, yeah, they look like something that the time for that has passed. And the fact that Denethor is still insisting on throwing that at the enemy and, like, holding people to those standards is another way of showing you that he's delusional.
Yeah. Ugh. Yes. So good. I think that's a good note to go out on.
Yeah.
If we've hit almost 2 hours again. But this time I think I could cut out more, so I think we're fine.
Thanks for sticking around this long with us here on Sneople at the Movies from the Infinity Break Network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content, and come hit us up on Twitter at people_snake, or shoot us an email at sneople@themovies@gmail.com. Our amazing music was done by Johnny Ronaldo, who you can find at Johnny Ronaldo on Twitter. Our super snazzy logo was designed by Bethany Leuthold. Check her out at Bethany Leuthold, that's leuthold.wixsite.com. If you've got a subject you want to hear us talk about, a movie you absolutely think we need to see, or a link to your favorite music piece from Lord of the Rings, come say hello. Also, if you can, please leave a review on iTunes and share the show with anybody who you think would make their social distancing go faster, or would just enjoy it. Any way you can spread the news really helps us keep up our momentum for making the show, because, we make it because we love each other, but we also make it because we want to keep pumping out takes for you guys. As always, thank you for listening, and someday we have to believe we will see you in person at the movies.
God, I want to get a blue raspberry icy at a movie theater so fucking bad.
I'm just the level of feral goblin that I'm going to turn into when finally, once again, offered the opportunity to eat fresh movie theater popcorn is like preemptively embarrassing.
Unimaginable.
Yeah.